What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Just before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and turn on the post notifications. It's free, and it'll notify you whenever we drop another banger just like this video. Plus, it'll help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the video. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the release. Just before we get into it, thank you so much for all the support and love on the last video. Thank you for all the motivation in the comments, because it motivates us to keep putting out these banger videos and just to keep providing content for you guys. You guys got us like what, 413 views.
Wow.
And 52 comments. Thank you for that. And counting, man, because YouTube loves us now. But before we get right into it, let's go over some hot topics, okay? Last night the Lakers lost to the Raptors, okay? It is no longer LeBronto, but it is California. It is California. And I'm speaking, yep. It is California, okay? He showed he was a leader last night and put us on his back, okay? Him and Siakam.
Yeah, it's good to have that happen for once, though,
Of course.
Like that's a nice feeling.
Nice.
LeBron getting hurt isn't a good thing, though. I mean,
yeah, no, of course not.
That's not a.
Yeah, no, he needs to sit out.
I thought he was just taking time off to try to get the hair back, but I guess it was actually, I don't know.
Wow, that's just disrespectful.
No, playoff runs, you want to look good for when you make the finals. So I thought he was trying to get the hair back.
That's true, man. That's true.
There you
go. Dr. J made an all-time starting five. He made a first team and a second team, and people are pissed because like LeBron isn't on them and stuff. But people are forgetting that this guy played in a whole different era.
Oh yeah, he's obviously gonna have bias. Like he's gonna think everyone he played with was the toughest.
Like, come on.
Like that whole ABA amalgamation era. He's just gonna think like everyone was sick.
They're not even that. It's not even that bad of a list. It's pretty similar to what I would put.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, again, all top 20 players on his list. So I see people complaining. Doesn't make any sense.
Come on, man.
I mean, he inspired MJ. So just remember that. Put some respect on his name. So
there you
remember
go.
that. He inspired MJ. MJ inspired LeBron. And then you know how the rest goes.
He's just an old geezer who gets mad that he gets left off people's list all the time.
Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, you know what? No,
I think Pastor Brandon's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
You gotta
Dr. J's
respect
excuse makes no sense. Dr. J played on a super team, so he needs to be quiet for a quick second. First of all, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You're top 20 all time. You weren't even the best player on your championship team on the Sixers. Moses Malone was. Remember that, right? Remember that. You had Jerry West on your team. Let me guess, Wilt and Baylor. That's not a super team. Okay. What about Bill Russell? Those are not super teams. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I don't know, man. Super teams have always existed. Doesn't make any sense.
All right, man. Well, moving on. There are only 3 people all time that have averaged 16 points plus, 17 plus assists, 5 plus rebounds, and Kyle Lowry is one of them. The other 2 are none other than LeBron James, because I don't know, he's a monster, man. I swear he's been like over 35 for 10 years now. Okay, it's insane how this guy just keeps working at this level. Also, Kevin Porter Jr. dropped 50 points, making him the youngest player to do that since LeBron. LeBron was 23, KPJ was 20. And then finally, Jason Tatum dropped 60 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's the second youngest player to do that behind D-Book, who dropped 70 when he was 20. Oh,
He's only 23. He's only 23. Oh, that's crazy.
Man. But without further ado, welcome to the first episode of the Pastor Brandon Release Playoffs. This is game 1 of 3.
Get hyped.
Let me tell you how this is going to work. We're going to have a topic for 7 episodes, okay? At the end of each thing, we are going to take a vote, a non-biased vote, a non-biased vote to see who we think won. At the end of the day, though, it's not up to us. It's up to you guys. I'm going to be posting Q&As on my stories, in the comment section, everywhere, and you are going to vote for who you think won. The fans decide, and then that's who goes up in the series. It's a game. It's the series of 7 first to 4 games. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, let's acknowledge this. Pastor Brandon started so much that we have based an entire series around him. Okay, this man has rustled so many feathers that he is a mainstay now, and he's the reason we got 400 views. Okay, it's not the haters.
He's a valuable guest.
wanted to bring it back down to your guys' level today. I put on the T-shirt for you. Okay, just put on the T-shirt.
Okay. You know what? I'll say this. Okay, if it goes to a game 7, I will dress in my fanciest clothing. Even pants too. I won't be wearing shorts underneath.
Just so you know, when I'm up 3-0 to everyone, I will be wearing an all black suit with black dress pants. I'm going to a funeral, and it won't be mine. I promise you that.
All right, man.
Oh, let's see.
Okay. Well, thanks for the last video though. Just saying, Pastor Brandon is now on the second most viewed video. The 3 of us have the most viewed, but I'm just saying. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So today's topic for the first game, Pastor Brandon has home court advantage. Biggest what ifs of all time. Biggest NBA what ifs of all time. So this is how this is going to work. We're going to go around, say our what ifs, and then we will challenge each other and explain them. We're just going to say what they are real quick. So Pastor Brandon, go ahead. What is your what if?
All right. So my what if is, what if Vince Carter never left the Toronto Raptors? What if Vince Carter stayed in Toronto instead of leaving to the New Jersey Nets?
All right. Mike, what's your what if?
My what if is, what if Greg Oden got to his full potential? Number 1 pick in the 07 draft. You guys might not even know about him. I'm going to let you know about him. Pastor Brandon, I see
you. All right, Jordan, what's your what if?
All right, mine is, what if James Harden was never traded and stayed in OKC for his career?
Oh, that's a big one. And finally, mine is, what if Shaq had Kobe's work ethic? Okay? Because come on now. Although I'm the biggest Raptors fan of all time, but aside from Nav Bhatia, Pastor Brandon, I don't know about your statement. I'd like you to explain that, please, because there's some things that have just come to mind that I feel like I could just challenge that with.
Well, I'm not sure where to start, because I feel like for debating Gen Z people like yourselves, I don't even know if you can recognize the greatness that was happening in the city of Toronto at the time that Vince Carter came to the Raptors. It's definitely something that if you were living in that time, you knew who Vince Carter was. And one of the biggest reasons on why I say this is because how long did we wait for the Raptors to win that championship? Everyone was just, the city of Toronto has been hurting for a long time. And when Vince Carter was with the Raptors, he took them to the conference finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. Unfortunately, they lost in that series, heartbreaking loss. And then the 76ers ended up getting killed in the finals. And I would have truly believed if the Raptors were in that same finals with the Lakers, they would have fared a little bit better. I cannot guarantee they would have won that year. But here's my point. With Vince Carter staying in Toronto post-2003, if he stays in Toronto, it was about to turn the tide for the NBA to see Canada as a place where they wanted to be. He had Tracy McGrady on the team, and Tracy McGrady was just about to come into his own prime until he was traded away. If Vince Carter stays and that team builds from Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, you are looking at the first super team before super teams were even invented in the Celtic period there. So I'm just saying, I think if Vince Carter stays, he changes the entire landscape of basketball, and Canada's on the map way earlier than Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, if a team with those guys in their primes is ridiculous. Like that, they didn't fully reach that. They got canceled by AI. But yeah, I have to agree with Pastor Brandon.
Man, listen, okay. It's like I'm getting sick to my stomach having to say this. Okay, I'm truly just the Raptors fan. It's insane. I have the shirt on, the hat on right now. I probably have like an undershirt on under this. That's Raptors. It's my life. It's my air and what I breathe. But I genuinely don't think that could have happened, man. I don't think they could have done anything because the talent in the West and in the East too was rising so quickly. Of course, the West was always better than the East, but it was rising so quickly. And for someone like even T-Mac, because T-Mac wanted out, right? For him to stay and then want like for him to stay and continuously want out, he's not going to play at his full potential. I'm not saying that he's going to have some next James Harden episode here, but he's not going to play at his full potential. I truly believe that the only time they even had a shot at getting in the finals was beating that 76ers team, because if Vince Carter made that shot, they would have went on to face that Bucks team, who I think they could have beaten. You know, it's pretty good odds, but then we just would have gotten massacred by the Lakers. You know, but it still would have been a finals appearance, but that didn't happen, and there's no way it could have happened after that, purely because of the talent rising. Like even like the 2008 Celtics, that was a scary team, man. The Heat, all these guys.
Just saying, if Vince Carter had a bit of a better attitude and was willing to put on for the city like how the players have nowadays, they actually big up the city and stuff. If Vince Carter just said a couple nice things about Toronto, that would have changed the perspective of NBA players getting drafted to Toronto, first of all, and second, free agents, at least giving them a look. The problem was they weren't even getting looks from free agents. And so what ends up happening is everyone on the team isn't saying good things. They're only saying bad things or nothing at all, which just signals to the entire league this is not a place you want to be. And so we end up with everyone leaving in a disgruntled thing. And Vince Carter says himself, the only things that he really hated about Toronto was there was no ESPN and it was cold half the time. But he ends up going to New Jersey where it's literally the same thing. The only thing he gained by moving to the TV channel. That's it. That's the only thing he gained. So it's just one or two nice things away from people coming to Toronto versus leaving Toronto.
Okay.
I agree with the marketability of the city. I don't know about the title. That takes a lot. But yeah, Jordan, what do you got to say about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree with all the points you've made. I don't see them winning the title since the East gets way better after Vince Carter went to the finals. That was like the weakest Eastern Conference in that decade. So you're gonna have to deal with the Heat with Dwayne and Shaq that one year. The Celtics are coming up soon, right? So then you got the Heat. How long can these players stay together? Both of them had injury histories. Can those things maintain? Especially Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
Vince Carter really took a deep dive after his next few years on the Nets. But let me get into my point, because this one here changes. Not only does it change cities, NBA history as a whole, all-time records. We're talking about all-time lists.
Come on, man.
I'm ready.
All of this changes, right? If Harden stayed with OKC, this team would be a dynasty. Let's call it what it is. This team would be a dynasty. There's no way of doubting it. Westbrook and Harden would never become the players that they would be today, obviously, but they would be winners, which is something that they're not right now. And KD, with multiple rings, he would be the best player of the 2010s. Let's call it what it is. If he has those two guys, LeBron's not getting his 4 titles. He really isn't. Like, I mean, LeBron's legacy is based off his winning because he's the greatest winner of this decade. If KD's the greatest winner of that decade, LeBron ain't competing for MJ. LeBron's not even the greatest small forward of all time. I mean, LeBron would just be Wilt Chamberlain before getting a ring, before having like multiple rings. He'd be Wilt, gets the MVPs. He's the best talented player in the league, but he would have no rings. And then from keeping the buck, Kevin Durant could be the Bill Russell of this era. He may not be the most talented, but still really talented and has the rings, the success. And this team, Curry's legacy wouldn't be the same. Curry would only have 1 championship.
Come on.
Yep. I'm explaining this. I'm explaining this real quick, right? 2014, 2015 is the reason the only championship it has. 1, KD gets hurt that year, which means the Thunder are taken out of contention, which would still lead Curry to still win his ring. Years after that, KD's healthy for the next few years. The Thunder don't choke a 3-1 lead to the Warriors with Harden on his team. That's all they need. They need the 1 score. They need the 1 score in those games. So Curry only has 1 ring. LeBron doesn't win a championship in Cleveland because those Cleveland teams couldn't deal with that big 3. What else? I'm gonna see if I want to keep anymore. And the Raptors wouldn't win a championship. That's all I'm gonna leave it.
Okay. See, that's where you cross the line. I'm gonna have to let someone else go first because I'm gonna just be speaking out of pure emotion.
Sounds like OKC would have won 15 years straight of championships the way Jordan just talked about.
No.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
No. Not
There's
15.
a reason they didn't work. There was a reason they didn't mesh well together. They exited in the playoffs. They're not all of a sudden, if they stay together, they automatically take championships away from other people.
Like those guys are massive.
Their egos would change.
I don't think they would, man, because they were already cocky back then. Like if they were like super cocky and rude back then what? Why would they change? Joe, you're gonna have to cut this out.
Stays on the same team after he gets that award and wins. Show me it. Doesn't happen. Lou Williams
he would start. He would start
4 times. The guy never stays on the team he won.
Exactly.
He wouldn't find his form. He would not find his form. He would not find those crazy numbers, those 30-point numbers, if he stays on that team.
He doesn't need to be.
He won't get enough of the ball to get those numbers.
James Harden, in order to be James Harden, needed out of OKC. No matter how he left, he needed out of OKC to become the MVP, the 35-point per game scorer that we know today. Because without that, he would have just been a regular 6 man. He would have been a Lou Williams, like Brandon just said.
And he needed that Mike D'Antoni push.
He left because of money. All the Thunder had to do was spend $5 million more, which they had. Yes, they had the money. They could have spent it. He would have stayed for 5 years. That was the only reason why he left. You could look it up yourself.
What does their bench look like, though? What does their bench look like if you keep those guys?
I mean, you still have Ibaka.
And salaries.
And you will still be able to get older players who want to need a ring because big three. And again, let's be honest, you don't need that much depth to win a championship anyways. As long as you have 6 or 7 guys, especially.
If I freeze again, bro. If I freeze again.
Though, no KD. That's a big factor.
What I'm showing you is that you just had a guy who averaged a triple-double all year long with a guy that can score 50 at any time, and they still couldn't put something together. So you're going to tell me those 2 guys who are both ball hogs are going to give the ball to KD? It's not going to happen.
And the best scorer of all time in KD. Like, that does not work.
Exactly. That backcourt needs to flourish to have the rest of the team doing what they need to be doing. And come on, Westbrook and Harden in a locker room are not winning a championship.
They did not chemistry-wise, man.
No. I'm not saying that they would stay together for like 10 years. They would leave eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still in contract for multiple years. And
so they're not going to demand a trade?
No, I mean, look, if KD was still winning rings on OKC, there's no reason for him to leave. Russ wouldn't want to leave either. You want to say Harden will leave, but again, Harden only left due to the money. Harden didn't leave due to he didn't want to be there. There was no chemistry problems back then. It was money. He would have started eventually because
they didn't want Harden. They wanted to stick with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. They were not sold on James Harden, which is okay that they weren't sold on it. They couldn't. That doesn't mean that they couldn't have succeeded with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. It just didn't work out. But to say that they would have demolished all these teams and stopped all these other dynasties from winning championships is ridiculous. That's crazy talk.
Maybe they bring a championship to OKC, but I think that's the limit to their ability. I'm going to be honest.
Them staying together, there would be no other dynasties. Harden wouldn't join the Rockets. Really wouldn't become the team that would is.
Come on.
The only reason why
Rockets
the Warriors have multiple championships. Okay, I mean an actual like playoff team that could compete like that. The only reason why the Warriors are able to have multiple. Okay, but how long does the Heat last? We're talking about 2 other years.
Okay, but then how long would OKC last, man? Because I'm talking like Pastor Brandon right now, okay? Listen, Pastor Brandon calls it a players' league. So say if the players' league, if it does become a players' league, okay? Yeah. It's not, but if it does, okay? If it does, these guys are going to see these guys like, oh, I want this money. I want this amount of money. I want this amount of money. And they're all going to think, hey, I'm worth way more than this. And they're all going to be demanding maxes, and you cannot afford that. Especially if you're saying that Harden's going to still be this amazing all-star type of guy, then they are going to demand their money. And OKC will not even be willing to pay that. Like, why do you think they didn't want to pay Harden in the first place?
Because they were cheap.
Because they could tell the future, man. They
What
know
future?
what was happening.
If you were paying attention, you'd realize that you have to keep Harden. Like, this is not even a discussion. Harden already showed that he was a good enough player to be able to be on a team with those two guys. They already showed they had the ability to play together. Even though Harden was on the bench, he was still playing like a starter. He was just on the bench.
They knew what was happening, man. Okay, so back to Pastor Brandon's point again. Lou Williams is playing like a starter, but he's on the bench. He goes everywhere, man.
Not the same player. Not the same.
That's true. Not at all the same.
Not the same player.
Harden has a ceiling that is
even Harden back then.
Lot.
Harden back then still had the ability to create shots and play make something that Lou can't even do now. So
Jordan,
those aren't the same.
I think big teams still get created. I think big teams out of that still get created, and it's a weird thing. Like, I don't even think they get past that Golden State Warriors team, the one without KD. They don't get past that team.
KD? Oh, come on.
No.
You can't even assume the final. You can't assume the finals. You can't assume the finals before. Like, you got to get there, and they're not getting there.
Draymond is locking someone up. Iguodala's locking someone up. Clay's locking up a guard. Like, it's. They had good defense. It's gonna be hard to get past their defense, let alone their insane offense, with Draymond being that point forward he is.
And let's not forget, we have Miami Heat and San Antonio Spurs. You're telling me that those three, like, it's clear cut, like they weren't gonna beat those teams anytime. Yeah, the way that team functioned in OKC, there's no way that they have the experience to beat any one of those teams. There's no way.
Kawhi and Tim Duncan are still on those teams, as well as Ginobili and Tony Parker, who are still.
Are the Mavericks still full strength too? Even like the Mavericks at that time.
You could argue that they're full strength, but
I will say the Mavericks are like OKC. Like, if OKC got one, they'd be in the same ranks as the Mavericks.
For sure, but they were still a heavy team, and they took down the Heat. But
yeah,
man, enough about Jordan's point, man.
He knew he was wrong, so he had to leave.
He had to, bro. Yeah, no, it's not.
That's okay.
Man had to go.
That's okay. Listen. That's all right.
Mike, you go. No, Mike, you go ahead, bro.
All right. So let me paint you a picture.
Oh gosh, you're not even an artist.
Okay. No, he made
that was the biggest dad joke.
He made that painting in the back.
Brandon, that sounds old. Anyway, okay. Let me paint you a picture. This Portland Trailblazers team in 06, okay? They can't even get a playoff place. They're 10th. They got subpar players with LaMarcus putting up all their numbers. 07 draft rolls around, and a guy named Greg Oden pulls up on first-round pick. This guy beats out KD, Horford, Mike Conley, and even Joakim Noah at like 10th, okay? So we go back. Greg Oden, he's on Ohio State, okay? He partners up with Mike Conley. And honestly, this was warranted. He should have been first pick. He should have been first pick over KD because of what he showed in college. He was a monster on the boards, a monster in the paint. He took an Ohio State team to the finals against a dynasty college team in Florida. Billy Donovan is coach, and Al Horford and Corey Brewer at that time was somehow sick. Anyway, this team they would pop off if Greg was not so injury prone, if he wasn't hindered by all these things. He was so good. He gets drafted first. And when we look at this, he's a monster, and he goes backcourt with Aldridge and Oden, okay? Power forward center. They draft Lillard and Will Barton and get CJ in 2013. And listen to this starting five. Dame, CJ, Wesley Matthews, LaMarcus Aldridge, and a Greg Oden at full health. That is another massive team in the West. I don't care, like Steve Kerr, like a bunch of these like well-respected people in the league were saying Greg Oden's a 1 in a million talent, but he was hindered by injuries. He was injury prone, but he tears it up in the West, and that team is definitely challenging top 5.
Okay, so here's this though. We never got to see Greg Oden play that much in 2006 and stuff like that, okay? But how do you know just because he's a good college player, that means he's a great NBA player? Andre Bagnani, Jose Calderon, Anthony Bennett, Andrew Wiggins, all these guys are flops. Markelle Fultz, I mean, he got injured, but like
let's think about this, okay? So KD
Lonzo Ball
went out Sweet 16 with Texas, okay? Oden takes his Ohio State team all the way to the finals, dominates everyone in the paint, and just because of an injury that he inherited, I think it was genetic. It was just an injury where his right leg was like shorter than his left leg.
Yeah.
But if he gets that sorted out sooner, he reaches full potential. He was never exposed. He was so dominant in college. He was he deserved to go number 1 overall. And if you take his college stats, even as like he from high school to college, it only took him 1 year. He was so good. He won everything there was to win. Defensive Player of the Year in Big Ten, Big Ten MVP. Takes his team all the way to the finals. Yeah, I mean, he's better than all these flops, these Darko Milicic's, the Adam Morrisons, because he actually proved dominance. And if he gets that sorted out, that starting 5 of Dame, CJ, Wesley Matthews, Aldridge, Oden, with Will Barton on the bench, Myers Leonard. Well, Myers Leonard was okay for a little bit. I won't even bring him up. But I mean, I have a hard time seeing that these guys don't go far.
Like,
Oden was the last piece in that puzzle.
Are you done, Mike? Because I don't even know if you're convincing yourself of this. I really don't. I don't think you actually believe the only words that are coming out of your mouth right now.
Hey, Brandon, that's a nice thing to say. I want to hear how you back that up. That's cool, but.
Well, Mike, look, let's be honest here. You're basing, when you say college career, to have a career means a prolonged amount of time. The guy had 1 year in Ohio State University.
I know.
How are we basing anything off 1 year? And let me read the stats for you right now. Because if he was such a powerhouse, 9 rebounds a game, 15 points a game, that doesn't sound outstanding to me. I know it's college basketball, but that's not.
Yeah, it's lesser stats. He was a tournament performer. He put on 24, 5, and 5 in the final. I mean,
it doesn't make any sense what you're saying. And
how does that not make any sense?
So you're saying that
if he gets an injury looked at from if he gets a previous injury looked at and gets to actually fulfill his true potential rather than riding bench, having his whole like everything shot. I mean, look, I don't even know. Like he fulfills full potential. He's injury free.
You don't believe it. You're telling me
I do believe it.
If he had one leg as the same length as another, he would be Shaq, the second coming of Shaq.
I'm not saying he's the second coming of Shaq. I'm saying the Portland Trailblazers have a thing that they've needed for so long that would have kept all these great players together, and that would have made a definite run. He was so great, so good in the paint, everything, and all it is one minor surgery, one minor thing. He knew he had it. He knew he had it. He knew he had it for so long. He didn't get it looked at. That's how minor it was, Pastor Brandon. That's how minor it was. He didn't even get it looked at.
But even minor surgeries can destroy careers.
People have surgeries like this, but if he had it's corrective surgery. It's to get it back. It's to get it better, and he rehabs right.
Saved Greg Oden's career is a miracle from heaven. That's the only thing that could have saved Greg Oden's career. There's no way that any other type of surgery. This guy was injury prone from the beginning. If it wasn't going to be his leg, it was going to be his neck or his back or his wrist or his shoulder. It was going to be something else. The guy is a walking piece of clay.
He gets all those other injuries. He was injury prone because of this problem. He had problems with both of his knees, overcompensation. If he doesn't get work like that and he gets that corrected, Pastor Brandon, we're seeing a guy of full potential. He's not like other busts. He's not like those guys. He actually shows better. I'm not saying he's the second coming. I'm saying he provides this missing link in a Portland team that could have made multiple playoff runs, that could have added so much more finance to their team, that could have done so much, open up their market. I mean, and he lost to a Florida team in the final that was a very, very good college team coached by Billy Donovan. Al Horford and Corey Brewer is actually like really good back then. But I mean, if he gets that minor corrective surgery, I truly think.
Even if he's healthy, still not a contender. Still not the Blazers are not a contender with the Lakers, the Thunder, the Spurs, the Clippers.
No, I'm saying,
and it's evolving. The game in the center is evolving. Like, he's no LaMarcus Aldridge, because LaMarcus Aldridge was able to evolve with the game. He was able to adapt. The way you're describing Greg Oden right now,
evolve.
But the way you're describing him and the way that we saw him play in college, he's playing like this grit and grind traditional, like Brandon said, next coming is Shaq player. Players like Shaq can't adapt to shoot the three like that.
He couldn't even shoot a mid-range shot.
Like, it's stuff like that.
His paint presence was so good. He had 61% from the field goal.
He'd be Andre Drummond
in college,
like best.
Yeah.
But add that missing piece, add that rebounding to that team. And he makes all those other players flourish. I'm not saying he's going to be an insane player that dominates that position. I'm saying he elevates that team to the next level. They get into the playoffs more. People look at Portland more. Portland is such a slept-on market.
Next level of the second round exit team.
Mike doesn't even believe the only words coming out of his mouth. I'd rather take Taco Fall over that than Greg Oden.
You love to laugh. You love to laugh things off and just have the suit, the theatrics with no meat at all, with literally nothing. You have no info, okay? But that's fine. It's all right. It's okay. All I ask for you is to keep quiet for like 5 minutes. That'd be cool. But so
it's getting heated. I love it.
I can't look like this, okay? I'm gonna get crapped on by these fans, okay? No, look, he's a great defensive player. He keeps players out of the paint. He had 3 blocks in college. He was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He shores up that defense, that paint for Dame, CJ, LaMarcus to flourish at their offensive potentials. And I think they're a great team. I think they're a much better team than they would be.
Wait, time out. You're being consistent here. Okay, so one, if Lamar Odom is if he's the type of player that you say he's going to be, right? Dame and CJ, sorry, Greg Oden, right? If Greg Oden is the type of player you said he would be, Dame and CJ would never be drafted there, right? The only reason why they were drafted there is because they were bad. So even with your logic would bring up Dame and CJ, that's inconsistent. They would never be Blazers, and without those two, they wouldn't be able to last long. Greg Oden still wouldn't be able to adjust to the league. They would still be the same team that they are today. A second round exit, even worse now. So this is really it's a nothing burger because again, Dame and CJ never go there if Lamar Odom is able to, if their team is able to be good. The only reason why they were there, it's because LaMarcus Aldridge left.
So against my original point, if it wasn't the leg, it'd be something else. The guy had injuries from all back in high school. The best ability is availability.
Which injuries?
Best ability is availability. That's the key to everything in the sport.
Which injuries did he have in high school and college?
You want me to find out for you? I'm gonna pull up the stats right now. Don't get mad, Mike, when I pull up the stats.
No, I won't be mad. Jordan took me down with fact. You took me down with a couple cool mantras that you put out there.
No, it's not mantras. It's the truth, bro. It's
okay.
I could have sworn he had neck problems. No, did he not have neck problems, or was it all just his knee?
He had one wrist in his first season at Ohio State.
Odin had a surgery on his right wrist, June 16th, 2016. Guess what hands the shooting?
2006, 2016.
2006. My.
Yeah. And he got back healthy and put on a great performance, and he was the best player in college.
You know what? I'm just gonna pull up a list of Greg Oden injuries because
you can do it after the fact.
He underwent 3 microscope. Wait, he went under 7 knee surgeries. So because of that issue.
7. Okay. No.
Because of this issue.
Let's drop the knees. Let's drop the knees. Okay. So what Mike is saying is that the knees do not exist. Okay, they're healthy and they will always be healthy. But
because that's his mobility.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that means the legs are fixed. So that means his neck, his back, his shoulders are fixed. That does not stop what Brandon brought up, the wrist. That's a shooting hand. If he gets another surgery on that hand, it's
and
over.
He got healthy. And he got healthy.
Yes, he did get healthy. He did. But if he gets another one, if he has up that wrist again, if he messes it up again,
after that wrist, it never happened. It never happened after his years in the NBA. I know Jordan pretty much got me there, but for the injuries, he healed up that wrist. It was just a fractured wrist. He heals it. He goes
just
back.
A fractured wrist.
He was the best player in the NCAA, so it was just a fractured wrist.
He's the best.
He never had that problem again.
He's the best player of 1 year in the NCAA. It's not like it was he changed the scope of college basketball here. You're making him seem
No, I'm not saying he is at all. I'm not saying he is at all, but he was better than guys like Al Horford, guys like Durant in college.
Man, you can't it's just not just a fractured wrist though. It's
he healed it.
Of course it healed, but that wrist is never going to be the same again. It's never going to be the same again.
If I can average 24 points, if I can average 15 points and 9 rebounds with a bad wrist, if it's still bad, that, he was fine. He went back to his potential.
Okay, but look, players like LeBron James, okay? LeBron James has had a numerous amount of leg injuries in his life, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And although he goes out there and performs, it still takes him out for literally this year for more than half the season. So how can we know that can't happen to Greg Oden?
Well, I mean, he's 36, so I don't think we can really.
I know, but he's been getting this age.
Westbrook's another good example. Westbrook's another good example. Knee surgeries have kept him out. This guy's played every single game, not anymore. So,
well, that healed, and he had still 3 or 4 years in the league. Nothing bad with his wrist happened. The knee, I'll give you, the knees happened because of that thing. But I still cede my argument because my argument was taken down by Jordan.
Again, near injury or not, because it's hypothetical. So the injury is not even an argument. So I don't know why we're debating about the injuries.
Look, let's just look at he didn't change. He wasn't that great.
I'm not saying,
but
if he's better than all those players in that draft class, Pastor Brandon, he didn't have to change anything.
Stop it right now. Are you crazy?
What in that one NBA season? In that one NCAA season, he's better than all those players.
Yeah, and there could be how many players have been drafted because of one good year in college basketball?
Anthony
Bennett. No.
Greg Oden.
Anthony Bennett.
It's true. It's true. Wiggins. But he played at Las Vegas. Okay, this guy played at Ohio State, and yeah, obviously, but we never got to see his full potential in the league because of this. It's a hypothetical.
Michael, there was no potential. That's the thing you're missing.
Injury or not,
you saw his
round
potential.
exit.
You want to talk about the big teams. You want to talk about how he played on a big team. And Andrew Wiggins, okay? Yes, he was Rookie of the Year, but he played on a big team. He played on Kansas, did he not? Look at him now. He's not. I'm never gonna call an NBA player a bum again, okay? Because that's just disrespect.
No,
but he's bad.
There's a bunch of hypotheticals that gonna happen from a bunch of different examples. I'm just saying that he improves Portland and that he would be much better because I went back and watched tapes of him in NCAA and he was. I love the way he plays and I think he would do well in the league. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that he would improve that team drastically.
All I'm saying, second round exit. All right, David, what is
Listen.
Okay,
yeah. Since we put that argument to rest, I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully start a new one. My thing is, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got one thing. Yeah, you know what it does? It literally moves Portland Trailblazers if Greg Oden stays healthy. I'll move him up one spot in the Eastern Conference. That's as much as I'd give Greg Oden potential.
Okay, first of all, they're in the Western Conference, and second of all,
my bad, Western, my bad. Doesn't matter.
Second of all, that's a hypothetical. That's a hypothetical as well. How do I know that? How do you know they're only going to go up one spot?
I'll give them one spot. He gives them one extra win because he gets a layup at the end of the game.
Pastor Brandon, I could say for your argument that if VC and T-Max they only go up one spot. How does that make a difference?
At least my example's realistic. At least it could have happened.
Yours couldn't have happened. They had terrible attitudes. This could have happened.
Mike, they were still playing in the league at least. They could have at least came back to Toronto. Your guy's gone. He's playing in Japan. He's not even China, Japan. The Dragons. He's playing for the Dragons.
He had no legs to walk on. It's fine. All right, whatever.
Listen, man. All right, give me. All right, so my argument is, what if Shaq had Kobe's work ethic? Okay, listen, Kobe said it himself. He'd have 12 chips. Now that's not what I'm arguing. Okay, but first off, just let me start it off with this. Okay, first off, this is assuming. Okay, this is hypothetical that the Lakers had the money to keep Shaq throughout the years. Okay.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. First off, my first point is Shaq got lazy, and he's still top 15 player of all time. After he got lazy, so if he had Kobe's work ethic, he's undoubtedly top 7. That's that. Okay. So let me break it down for you. Shaq's career stats are 23.7 points, 2.3 blocks, 0.6 steals, 2.5 assists, and 10.9 rebounds. Now, during his Magic days, okay, his Orlando Magic days, he was the most athletic he's ever been. He averages the most rebounds in his career, the most blocks in his career, and the second most points in his career behind his MVP season in LA, which he was still in pretty good shape for. Okay? So assuming he actually had Kobe's work ethic, he'd still want to get in shape and still want to get strong, but he'd still keep his athleticism. So I'm going to give him, let's see what I wrote down here, 4 more points. Okay? Because he's more athletic, but he's still strong. He can score more often. So that's 27.7 points, okay? Plus, like I mentioned before, athleticism. That's more rebounding. I'm going to tack on 2 more rebounds, 12.9 rebounds, okay? Then, like I said, athleticism. Orlando Magic days. He's getting chased down blocks sometimes. He's jumping higher. I'm going to give him 1 more block, okay? That's 3.3 blocks. He'd also want to improve more on the perimeter and be able to read the ball better. Because I know damn well if it was Kobe, he'd want to improve every way he could. So I'm gonna give him 0.6 more steals, boosting it to 1.2 steals a game. Okay. And then he'd also want to become a better passer, but due to him being a big man for his entire life, I'm gonna just say he's gonna get 3 assists. Okay. And just to keep it even, I'm gonna boost his turnovers up because with more shooting and stuff like that comes more turnovers, more passing. So I'm gonna say he got 3.2 turnovers, okay? Which makes his stat line 27.7 points per game, 12.9 rebounds per game, 3.3 blocks per game, 1.2 steals per game, 3 assists per game, and 3.3 turnovers per game. Those are already legendary numbers. Those are top 7 numbers, okay? Now, I'm going to explain further, okay? I told you, I did my research. I'm going to talk a lot. With that would come at least one other MVP. At least one other MVP. Oh, yeah, look at the watch, man. I'll keep going. At least one other MVP would come from that, okay? I'm telling you right now. Because, like I said, if he was Kobe, he'd want to improve, and the longevity would be there. Kobe never averaged under 13 points besides his rookie season, and the 13 points and the 15 points were from his old years when he was about to retire. Last 2 years of his career. Last 3 years, because the second last year of his career, he dropped like 20 a game. It was insane. Okay? So he'd get at least one more MVP. And then before I go into, I'm not going to go into detail about the championships just yet, but I said that Kobe and Shaq would get a total of 8 championships together.
All right, I have a few questions. Okay.
Go ahead.
So, one, for however great Shaq's mentality may have been, by the end of the day, he was still a 31-year-old center who had an average of 37 minutes per game in the 2000s. He would never win the MVP because the only reason why he was even contention in Miami is because he joined the new team. So, Kobe was only getting better. By the way, if you look at the stats in his last year, Kobe was actually competing with Shaq, and there was many games where you're like, is Shaq even the best player on the team? And again, the West is tough. I mean, again, 31-year-old center with the amount of minutes he's played, he could be as healthy as you want. That's still like 3-4 more years tops.
For a good period of time, though, Shaq was the better player on that team. And I'm not saying that he'd always be the better player on that team, because Kobe, in my opinion, will always be better, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, man, because Kobe didn't have that his luck with MVPs, sadly, okay? But Shaq, he had one. But Shaq would have at least had another 2, man, because like I said, the Kobe mentality, he's going to get more. He's going to do better. He's going to improve with ease. If what I just said about the points and the turnovers and stuff like that, if he gets those numbers, there's like, that's already better than his MVP season, arguably. And that's his all-time stats.
The Kobe mentality is kind of an under like you can't really that's not very realistic at all. Like, because Kobe's mentality is unmatched. You can't just tack that on someone because that's so hard to come by.
But that's why
I don't think Shaq would ever have that. But exactly,
that's why it's a what if question. That's why it's a what if.
But you could tack that on any player and they'd become way better.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm tacking it on an all-time great and saying that there's no way that he's not going to be beyond what he is already. Like he'll win. Him and Kobe.
But that's an easy argument to make for. That's an easy argument to make for anybody, though. You put that on anybody, and they get a ton better.
No, I can't make that argument about some of these bums out here, man. I just said I wouldn't call NBA.
You give them a new mentality. You give them a new mentality.
Okay, cool. So
and they become
I'm going to give Greg Oden the Mamba mentality. He's still going to get injured.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give Andrew Wiggins the Mamba mentality.
Probably still be a better. They're still going to be a better player.
Of course he'll be a better player, but he's still going to get injured. I'm going to give Andrew Wiggins the Mamba mentality. He's going to be good for maybe an extra 2 or 3 seasons. He's still going to have his fallout.
That's what you're trying to prove. You're trying to prove that he would be a better player, and he'd be a better player. Everyone would be a better player. No matter what the measure of success is, they would always be a better player with Kobe's mentality.
Somewhat. Everyone, yeah, of course. Everyone would be a better player with Kobe's mentality, but Shaq would be like, I'm excluding Michael Jordan in them, okay? Because if you give Michael Jordan his mentality plus Kobe's, like, LeBron James doesn't even touch it. But I'm just saying, if Shaq specifically, nobody else has this, and in that era of Shaq all the way to the 2011 Mavericks, okay? If Shaq is the only one with that mentality, he's the best player in that league.
David.
Brandon.
Let's
By the way, did I mention they're winning 8 championships together?
Oh wait, yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's nearly
ridiculous.
impossible.
I'll explain later, Brandon. I want to hear you.
That's because you guys always say I don't have stats, which is just
I know you have stats, Brandon.
But let me just tell you, okay, Shaq starts his career 81 games, starts 81. Orlando, that's his rookie year, and from that point on, it only continues to decrease and decrease and decrease. And I'm going to just say it out loud, and I know that David isn't going to like it. I'm sure that the rest of the world won't like it. I think Shaq is full of it. I think he gave his best effort he could give, because when you're that big, you can't afford to work any harder. Otherwise, you lose time on your career. He was playing it smart. He knew at his size, he cannot give every game 100%. He can't give practice 100%, because if he does, his career is half as long and not as great because of not being able to have longevity. It's the truth. Big guys cannot stay in the league that long, playing 82 games a year and practicing at 100% all the time.
But here's the thing, though. Shaq, cool. Shaq did not make the smart decision, okay? Because if anything, that made him worse. He gained weight, first of all. That's making him heavier. If he had Kobe's mentality, he's getting healthier, he's getting lighter, he's still going to keep his height.
David, what did he do when he was in the skinniest shape of his life? He didn't accomplish anything. He made an all-star game. That's it.
What do you mean he
didn't accomplish anything? That's why he gained weight. That's why he gained weight.
Yeah, that's why he gained weight.
I said earlier that he still gains the weight, but it doesn't get fat, okay? Because I'm going to just straight up say it. Shaq was fat, bro, and he wouldn't have done this. He would have stayed muscular, and he would have done this. And
Shaq was overweight when he was winning championships.
Yeah. He got big for those Laker days.
He chose to be unhealthy. He chose not to have that Mamba mentality. If he had that Mamba mentality,
winning championships, bro.
Of course.
This is not someone like Barkley who was.
And if he continues to win those championships, then he's gonna, and he will win those championships. But he'll be healthy at that time, and he will win 5 more with Kobe.
He gained weight for a purpose.
Exactly, but he gained it unhealthily. I'm saying that this way he's gonna gain it healthily, and he's gonna kill people, man. He's gonna go crazy.
I know what I've done. I've planted a seed in your mind, and there's some doubt. And so that's what's happening now. There's some doubt in your mind.
Yo, let me speak on that. Pastor Brandon said I had doubt, and I was just doubting myself. I was sweating in my seat. I'm going to be honest.
But you know why you doubt is because I'm right. Shaq gave his 100% effort to the NBA.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he.
Yeah,
Bro, nobody walks around. He gained weight on purpose.
Shaq didn't get lazy. He had to gain weight in order to dominate the way he did.
But his first years when he did gain weight, he was exactly the player that I'm describing him as. He still had some of his athleticism in his first couple years with LA, and he was big and muscular. He was not fat. That's what I'm saying. If he continues to stay the big muscular guy and not gain more and more and more weight, potentially just being on, yes, I can't stop this guy, but he's unhealthily gaining weight. Mm-hmm. I'm saying he's staying steady at a great pace, and he's staying. How much does Shaq weigh back then? Like what, 340? Say if he doesn't go up to like 375, okay? And he stays at the 340.
2002, he weighed 380.
There we go. And that's healthy Shaq 2002-ish.
David, you're trying to tell me that someone who weighs over 350 pounds on average each year can maintain an 82 a game schedule? Give 100%.
They can't take that
not
weight.
82.
Their legs
not
82.
Are done. I'm not
their
saying
mobility
82.
is done.
He can't even play 60 games like that.
I'm saying he's greater. He's greater. But listen,
the question should have been, what could have Shaq accomplished with the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich?
Okay.
With the management. That's what the question should have been.
Okay. First, no. Okay. Listen, Shaq. What year was this? 2002. 380. Okay. But Shaq, like I keep saying, and I will keep repeating this, he's getting healthier. He's getting stronger everywhere. Everywhere he's getting healthier and stronger. I'm not done.
No, David.
No. He's getting healthier and he's getting stronger everywhere. All right, and he's gonna continue to do that. And he's gonna get.
2017, he weighs 400 pounds.
Or how? What year?
2017.
2017. I'm right now. What I wrote down is I'm arguing up until 2011 with the Lakers. Okay.
His first year.
I'm going to 2011. That's 2017.
David,
that's 2017.
His first year on TNT.
That's on TNT. He's not playing. He's not playing that. He's not playing in the NBA when he's on TNT in 2017. That's 4 years ago. Okay.
Don't worry.
Listen, I'm saying Shaq stays healthy and muscular and big and a big guy who's healthy and has good longevity and he has strong legs and a strong everything and he's able.
You can be healthy and still that big. It's still a stress on all your.
Of course it is.
Wait, hold on, guys. I got the perfect stat.
But he has less of a stress because he's healthier.
He can't keep that up.
I found it on the internet, and thank God for the internet because it says here Shaq weighed 200. Or sorry, in 2017 he weighed 400 pounds. His first season with TNT on the roster.
I'm not arguing 2017 though.
Okay. And here's what he did. Someone told him he got a little big, so Shaq put all of his effort into losing some weight for the 2017 summer and came out weighing 380. He lost 20 pounds. That's the best Shaq you're gonna get, baby. That's it.
Want to know the best Shaq we're gonna get? We're gonna get athletic, strong Shaq. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Shaq was only athletic during his Magic days.
But I'm saying that he stays athletic. Hypothetically, he stays athletic.
That's
he gets
impossible.
strong.
He couldn't stay athletic. He couldn't
Look at
stay
people
athletic.
like Zion. I'm not comparing Zion to Shaq and stuff like that, or even Dwight Howard. Those guys
Zion has a vertical.
They're massive.
And Zion doesn't weigh as much.
Cool.
Zion's not 300 pounds.
He's nearly 300. Dwight Howard was 2-something. And listen, they stay athletic.
No, Shaq is Dwight's a small guy.
Shaq is 360. That's a big difference right there.
That's massive.
Listen, just let me. Okay. Well, what are you chuckling for, Pastor Brandon? What are you looking at? What are you looking at your wrist for? Okay,
you're still trying to make this argument.
Let me be hypothetical here.
Oh my God.
Hypothetically, Shaq has Mamba mentality. He stays healthy. His legs are good. They're winning 8 championships together. I'm explaining this now. You're not allowed to talk. I have the talking tape. All right. Listen. Okay. Now I gotta find it in my notes because my phone powered off.
Okay. Done.
Okay, 1 second before you, David, before you delve in. Okay, quick.
Go ahead.
Thank you for making me feel better about my terrible point. That's all I'm just gonna say out there.
All right, cool.
Because
so anyways,
this is crazy.
They three-peated once, okay? I'm just gonna keep it at 1 3-peat, okay? Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna keep it at 1 3-peat because that's not what I have in my notes, okay? So listen, if they had good chemistry. Because if Kobe has the same mentality as Shaq, they have the same mentality, they're going to like each other more, which is going to lead to better chemistry, which is going to, it's better work ethic together, practice, better leadership. They will love each other. They will stay together, okay? That's good chemistry, okay? They three-peated with 50-50 chemistry. With good chemistry, that could have been 4 or 5 times, okay? I don't doubt that they'll pass that Spurs team at least twice. A young Spurs team, and I hate to say it, but Shaq would dominate the way I'm explaining Shaq would dominate Tim Duncan in that matchup.
No, he didn't. Stop.
No. I'm not saying he did.
This is false. This is false.
No. I'm not saying he did. I'm
Tim
not saying he did. I'm saying
Duncan
he would.
Gave him the work.
Of course, Tim Duncan gave him the work because Tim Duncan's one of the greatest players of all time.
Listen, after the three-peat, Tim Duncan gave him the work the year after they lost.
Of course,
to the
but
finals,
I'm saying that Shaq is a different player. I'm saying Shaq's a different player than he was then. Okay, Shaq is a totally different player, and I'm saying that if he has the strength and the stuff like this, and he stays healthy, Shaq, he gives Tim Duncan the work. Although Tim Duncan's my favorite player of all time, you know how much that is for me to admit. Then, so they go to the finals and beat the Nets, no problem. Okay, 2000.
Why didn't Shaq do in Miami? If Shaq was able to do this, he would have won more in Miami if this was the player that you're trying to describe him to be. If he had a little bit better mentality.
But I'm saying he's staying on the Lakers.
But
how do you guarantee that?
Lakers for the whole time.
Hypothetically.
Wait, David, let me put something into context here. So the same player that you were talking about. So again, this is when 2002-2003 playoffs. Tim Duncan cooked Shaq. This was not bad Shaq, by the way. This was Shaq who averaged 27 and 11. Tim Duncan cooked him. The year after, they bring on Karl Malone and Gary Payton. They choked that. Right? So then you're going to have to deal with the Suns, with Steve Nash joins. Then you're going to have to deal with the Mavericks. Then you're going to have to deal with the Spurs. Then the year after, you're going to have to start dealing with the Celtics.
I have evidence against the Mavericks and the Celtics and the Pistons. I'm gonna tell you about it. I'm gonna tell you about it.
You know what, David, you still haven't addressed my point. You haven't addressed
What's
my
your point?
I said, my point was, what if Shaq is really just a liar and that he gave his max effort out? That there was no more potential. That was the potential.
But if he had Kobe's mentality, that wouldn't have been the max for him. That's my argument. I'm saying he has Kobe's mentality, and that there's a higher ceiling for him because he has Kobe's mentality.
Kobe's mentality doesn't work on somebody that's 350 pounds and over.
Kobe's mentality will work on everybody. Okay, you give me Kobe's mentality, I'm losing 100 pounds in a day. Okay,
but that's why this argument isn't great, because if you can give anyone mentality,
exactly. But I'm trying to say if you give Shaq Kobe's mentality, he's going to be one of the greatest players of all time, and he's going to be better than anybody else that gets Kobe's mentality, aside from Jordan and them. The other top 10 greats of all time. Because, like I said earlier, if you give Jordan someone like that, Kobe's mentality, LeBron doesn't touch him. Now, here's my evidence against the Pistons. Okay, the Pistons in 2005 they won, and then
I think it was
they won
04 was the Spurs. Okay, then never mind. 05 was the Spurs.
2004.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So they had Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, and Rasheed Wallace, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers had Karl Malone, who was a good defender pretty much his whole career, okay? Gary Payton, he's 40, yes, but he's still a good defender. I looked up the stats. He's getting a steal and a block, okay? That's pretty good for holding it down in the paint, especially for a 40-year-old, okay? I'm not going to say Gary Payton because Gary Payton was old and worn out. They have Shaq, okay? This is only 2 years after, so he's still pretty good, okay? They have Shaq, who can pretty much give what's his name, Ben Wallace the work, and then they have Lamar Odom. Okay, this is hypothetical. They had the money for Lamar Odom and Shaq. Okay, who can give Rasheed Wallace the work? Okay, I think they'd cause them more than a few problems, especially in the finals with playoff Shaq and playoff Kobe, because those two playoff guys are beyond insane. Okay, 2008, the Celtics. Okay. This would be the greatest finals matchup ever. One of the greatest finals matchups ever. Okay, listen.
Celtics in 5.
Okay, cool. Shut up. I'm gonna explain. Okay, listen. They have prime. Pretty much. I'm saying they go on for another 8 years, solid primetime basketball because they stay healthy.
That's nearly impossible. Shaq would be 40 almost.
What? How old was he in 2002?
He was only 31. He was 31.
What? Oh.
You didn't know the age of Shaq when he left.
Joel, yeah, he got drafted. Anyways, he was drafted like early 90s, man.
Joel, cut this out. Anyways, listen. So look, I'm gonna cut this out. I'm telling you, I'm gonna cut this out.
You didn't know the age of Shaq.
Listen. I'm still saying this is primetime basketball, okay? They're gonna have solid years of good basketball playing together, okay?
Not when he's 40.
This is Shaq. This is 2008 though. He's not 40. This is 2008. Okay. They have Shaq, Kobe, Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum.
Okay? Wait, 2008. He's still 35. But okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
he's still 35. It's a stretch. LeBron's 35. I'm not saying that he's as great as LeBron, but he has different mentality.
LeBron's not 380. But go
I know, but he's healthier. Shaq is healthier in this time. This is one of my worst arguments ever. Jeez, I might even not.
Different eras. Nobody played that long as well.
Okay, listen. Rondo, Garnett, Pierce, Ray Allen, and the GOAT himself, Brian Scalabrine, okay? They are not matching up against that team, okay? Listen, it'll be a great finals matchup, but I'm just saying, okay?
Shaq doesn't even make it to 35 with 350 pounds on him.
Come on, man. Listen, it's a good matchup, but the thing for me is that Andrew Bynum adds that extra 13 points, okay? Because 13 points doesn't seem like a much, but it's a lot when you're in the finals, especially against Brian Scalabrine's 2 points, okay? And then they'd also kill the 2006 Heat because they only have Dwayne Wade at that time. They only have Dwayne Wade. I'm not saying they have Shaq. They only have Dwayne Wade. That's unquestionable. That's the Heat. Now, here's my statement against the 2011 Mavs. This is the year. This is the end of their little Lakers era thing, okay? All they had was Dirk. All they had.
Wait, did you say 2011?
They won 2011.
Okay, but Shaq is 37 now.
Shaq is 37 now. Shaq is 38 now. Yes. Okay. Shaq is 38 now. And I'm
pushing it now.
I
don't even know his age.
And I will continue to push it. And I will continue to push it. I will continue to push it. You thought
Shaq was still in his 20s.
I thought Shaq was like 28 by that time. Okay. So I was still assuming that he got old. Okay. Listen. Dirk is getting locked up by Shaq or Odom. Okay. Odom is a great defender when he's not on crack. Okay. And Shaq is a big man who's an unstoppable force. Nobody's backing him down. And with that athleticism, he can jump a bit higher to contest Dirk's legendary fadeaway. That is 8 rings.
He's not jumping with those legs. Jumping with those legs.
He's healthier. But he's healthier, though.
38 and
he's still 38 and 350. I don't care. I'm saying he's healthier. You're not getting it, bro. I'm saying he's no.
His legs don't survive on 350 pounds, whether he's healthy, whether he's not.
But I'm not saying he's still 350. He could have lost weight, man. I'm saying he's healthy at this point.
He wouldn't be as dominant if he lost weight. So he wouldn't be as good.
But he still would have been as strong,
man. That's the reason why he gained weight, remember?
He gains healthy weight. He doesn't eat like an animal. He's not
It's still weight on your body. Your legs don't pick and choose which weight they get, okay? They just get weight.
Hey, wait. Here, we're going to know because Shaq's kids are going to be in the NBA. So we'll know if Shaq actually had a good work ethic, what he'll be able to accomplish, because his kids are a spitting image of him just 100 pounds less. So we'll know in 5 years whether Shaq would have been the most dominant player ever through his sons. And I got news.
No, his sons won't get there, but his oldest son won't get there.
You're probably saying that his sons aren't really that. They're not crazy. Like they're not crazy good, right? They're
Sharif is pretty good, and then Shakir is committed to what, Texas?
But you're the one saying if he lost weight and was like their size, that he would be the most dominant person ever. He'd have 8 rings.
Not their size. I'm saying he's healthier.
David.
And yes, he would have.
He gained weight to win.
Yes.
Healthier doesn't just take away injury problems.
But that's the problem, though. He didn't stop gaining weight. That's
he
the
needed
thing.
to gain that weight to win.
Yes, he needed to gain that weight to win. I'm saying he gains that weight in a healthy, steady. I'm saying that he gains that weight at a healthy, steady pace. He doesn't gain it.
Still, you can't be 380 and you can't be in that 300-pound range and not get injuries. It just doesn't happen. Doesn't matter what weight you have.
Shaq had more skill in Orlando. People need to remember this. Shaq was a better player by skill-wise than he was in Orlando. The only difference between Shaq in Orlando and Shaq in LA is the weight. That's what made him win.
Thank you, everyone, for watching the release. I hope you guys have a great day.
Well, hey, let's put some credit on that because I made that argument. You guys are trying to end the show like that wasn't my argument against.
I'm cutting this entire argument out.
Wait, are we voting? Do we vote on this now or?
Yeah.
Or who won? Okay, let's vote.
All right, guys. So that's gonna have to do it for the episode. That argument sucked. Man, I fumbled the bag right in the middle. So like, you know what? Don't even count me in it. Go, huh?
Let me. How do you mess up using an argument that's imaginary?
Yeah, I know. Listen, man. Listen. It wasn't my finest hour today. Okay. It wasn't my finest hour today. Okay.
You forgot the man's age when you're making the argument.
I might as well joke. I should have said, you know what? I think the Michael Jordan from Space Jam is actually the best team that's ever played. That's what
okay, listen. I admit today wasn't my strongest argument. Okay, I admit it. So give me some grace here. Okay. I fumbled the bag in the middle. I messed up. Okay. I thought I had the research done. Is this what you want to hear, Pastor Brandon? Is this what you want to hear?
No, this is not what I want to hear.
What do you want to hear from me, Pastor Brandon? I'm telling you, I fumbled the bag. I messed up in the middle.
The people will vote and tell you what I want to hear.
The people will not see this. Okay. All right, everyone. But without further ado, that's gonna have to do it for the episode. I know I pooped the bed, and me and Mike didn't provide the strongest arguments, but there were still two pretty good arguments that you could vote for. Jordan representing the release and Pastor Brandon representing himself, of course. Just a quick recap. Pastor Brandon was talking about what if Vince Carter stayed in Toronto. Myself, I was talking about what if Shaq. What are you doing, bro?
He's so cringy. That was so cringy. You gotta stop, man.
All right, listen.
It's the Vince Carter hang. It's the Vince Carter hang.
Okay. Listen, just quick recap. Okay, Pastor Brandon was talking about what if Vince Carter stayed in Toronto. Jordan was talking about what if James Harden stayed in OKC. Mike was talking about what if Greg Oden reached full potential. And myself, I was talking about what if Shaq had Kobe's mentality and stayed healthy. Clearly, that didn't do much. But don't forget to vote in the comment section. Vote in the polls on my story. Do all this, and then it'll declare the winner for next week. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on the post notifications, leave a 5-star review. Do all this stuff because you know what? You love us. Thank you so much for the motivation from the last podcast, because now we'll continue to keep on putting bangers. But without further ado, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you guys stay at. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.